Hey guys, Jason here, and I got some big news. Now, if many of you guys know, there's been really big debate about whether we should keep it at 1 Bitcoin or whether we should switch down to 1 micro Bitcoin. Now, for those of you who don't know, 1 Bitcoin can be subdivided into what we call a micro Bitcoin, which makes up 1,000 units. So 1,000 micro Bitcoins would equal 1 Bitcoin. And the idea behind this is that people see the price, and I personally encountered this when I talk to people about Bitcoin. They see the price and they see that it's $1,100, $1,200, and they quickly realize they can't afford that. And when you try to explain to them they can buy a fraction of a Bitcoin, they don't really understand because you make them do 0.04 Bitcoins. It's a topic that people have a hard time psychologically and just investment-wise looking into. So here recently, the Bitcoin community has been talking about wanting to get to a micro Bitcoin standard, which I think would put the value at like $1.30 per micro Bitcoin, somewhere around that range. And one of the really large sites, actually the largest site that people use to follow the price of Bitcoin, bitcoinity.org, the market section, has officially switched to micro Bitcoin. Now, I know it's going to freak people out when they get on there because they're used to looking at it, the price being 1,100, and now it's like $1.30. But just realize it's basically the price divided by 1,000. It's taken 1 Bitcoin and divided it into 1,000 subunits. Now there's been argument on Reddit and the Bitcoin talk forum about how it really doesn't do anything unless Coinbase and Mt. Gox switch over. I think there's a big part that people are missing. I think the fact that Bitcoinity did it first is a big, huge positive. I think that's going to show after a month or so that people see and they get comfortable with the idea of micro Bitcoin. I think people will look forward and kind of pressure Mt. Gox as well as Coinbase, as well as various other larger exchange sites to get in on the whole micro Bitcoin trend. I think it's something that's going to help people get into the idea of, oh well, wait, I can actually afford a type of Bitcoin now. Instead of a Bitcoin being 1,100, I'm buying a micro Bitcoin that's only $1.30. Now there has been ideas brought up that the idea of people when they search for Bitcoin, they think of the idea of just Bitcoin. So now we start throwing the idea of micro Bitcoin in. The worry is that people might be like, well wait, I thought I was buying a Bitcoin, not a micro Bitcoin. And it might be the same kind of confusion when I try to explain to someone that they buy a fraction of a Bitcoin, that the idea of a micro Bitcoin might be too confusing to incomers. So that's one thing also the community has to grasp. We have to be able to make sure that newcomers are educated enough to understand that a micro Bitcoin is just 1/1000th of a Bitcoin, and that most potentially by the end of 2014, the Bitcoin community would like to see the micro Bitcoin as a new official standard for price value. Anyway, that's just kind of a news update. I know a lot of people were emailing me asking me my opinions on it, what I thought it would do to the market. Again, it's going to take time. People right now are really used to the fact that Bitcoin's at 1,100. And now mentally they're starting to think, well wait, I got to divide 1,100 by 1,000 to get the current price. It's going to take time for people to adjust. It's going to be a lot easier for newcomers, and it's also a little bit harder for news sites because they're talking about, oh, Bitcoin just not crashed. Bitcoin just passed 1,200, and then they're going to go on and say, well, 1 micro Bitcoin just surpassed $1.30. There's a big confusion there. I can see the positives and the negatives of both sides, and personally I don't know what to do. I switched bitcoinity.org back to the regular just BTC instead of micro Bitcoin because it's easier for me to understand and use. And that's my fear, is that's what the rest of the community will do. And that's why Mt. Gox and Coinbase are so hesitant, because they don't want to confuse their users. So, leave a comment, tell me what your opinions are. I'd love to get more emails, more YouTube messages, because I'm trying to get more of a round opinion on this. I've read a lot of the forum posts, a lot of the Reddit posts, and it seems to be kind of divided. Half thinks it's a good idea, half think it isn't. So, it's going to be really a question that in the next, year, Bitcoin's going to have to decide, what do we want? Do we want a Bitcoin as the official standard, or do we want a micro Bitcoin as the official standard? We really don't know yet. But anyway, have a great day, guys.